Hello, everyone. This is Diane Iverglyn with Fiddlebog Farm, and I've promised everyone that we would be starting a journal of the recovery of the farm and of my own recovery this year. And I thought, well, let's start with seeds because it's the time of the year when people on homesteads are all getting seed catalogs. And if you're like me, I always want to get a jump on it. So I have them email me their their catalogs early. Now I've just chosen So True Seeds because it's one that I use, but you can just about name any other seed company. And I've either bought their seeds or used them as well. But in particular, as far as recovering the farm, for those of you that don't know, um, my daughter passed away. It will be 3 years ago in March. And um, I really struggled the first year. I just did not plant a garden, nor did I the second year or the third garden. So I guess it's going to be, is it going to be 4 years? I believe it's 3 years I have not gardened. Maybe it's been two. But anyway, I'd have to stop and look. And I'm sorry to say that. The second year, well, I was beginning to recover from just sitting down in a recliner and crying for a year. I began to bake, and my little studio that I live in doesn't have a real kitchen, doesn't have a stove. I have a induction burner, and I mostly just cook on top of that. Or if I'm using the wood stove fire, I will use the wood stove and cook on top of that too. Well, I was going up the hill to Ned's house where there is a kitchen that I can borrow, especially if I'm baking. He doesn't mind that at all. So I was kind of baking my way into a better spirit, if that makes any sense. And as I came down the hill back to the studio, I had crossed an area that had been frozen earlier, but now was slick, thin layer of thawed mud on top of the frozen ground. And it's a little bit of a steep slope, and I did what's called a splits fall and dislocated my pelvic bone and pulled all of the muscles in my right leg um, all the way down to from the groin to the shin. And in the process of rehabbing that, the following spring, which was second year without garden, we learned that I needed a knee replacement. But I didn't want to do the knee replacement until after the milking season was over because we have milk goats. So what I did was waited until January 16th. I had my knee replacement, and it didn't, because of my rheumatoid arthritis, it did not recover properly. And I have not been able to get down or do anything. And I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to garden this year, a third year. This would have been my fourth year if I didn't garden this year. And it's really hard to bring a garden back. So that's what we're going to do. I've worked hard at physical therapy and I've brought my leg back. My heart is never going to be the same, of course. But we can get out there and garden. I now can do squats, whereas I didn't know if I'd ever be able to again, but I can. So I wanted to kind of go through the first set of things that I considered for seeds this year. And I am a seed saver, but after this long of not being in the garden, I'm afraid I'm going to get out in the greenhouse and find seeds that are in bad shape. We'll go together and I'll brave it together. But what I've decided to do, let's go into vegetables here. I think this is a link for vegetables. I've decided to stick with So True seeds this year because they give me seed saving tips on certain varieties. For instance, if you look at, let's see, where are melons? I shouldn't have gone to this tab maybe. Let me see. Let me just search for melons for cantaloupes. All this melons. If you have too many Latin names that are the same, even if the seed variety is different, you cannot save seeds. You will just get junk when they grow. There's the Sharon Thai. This is my very favorite melon of all time. Now, melons are important on the homestead because it's fresh summer fruit before anything else is ready. And I have a small apple orchard, but anything that gives me fresh fruit in the summer, I'm all for it. And this one has an aroma that you can smell from, you can leave your house and go to the garden. You can smell this the whole way, just calling you over to the melon patch. It is the most wonderful thing. But see this cucumis mellow, this cucubid family. You should not have two cucumises if you want to save the seeds. Now, there are other cucubids with other names that start with another name, but let's just go back and see if we choose another one here and see what its name is. That's cucumis. So if I tried to grow this honeydew with that Sharon Thai melon, I'm going to get a mashup, and it's not going to make anybody happy. So that's not what you want to do. But eventually you'll come across other ones you can grow together. Most of the melons, though, probably you can't do together. Here you go. Citrullus lanitus. I'm sure I'm butchering these names. Odell's white watermelon. Odell's white watermelon. So this is a melon that I could choose to grow with the Sharon Thai. Now you also have to be careful when you're looking at cucumbers and any other squash, gourd, or melon. You have to be careful that you are not planting three of the same first name in the Latin naming, because it will mess up. And you need to make sure that your neighbors that are growing melons are a quarter of a mile away, which is difficult for many people. So if you have close by neighbors, you're going to need to learn how to keep a flower closed with a clothespin and maybe even some loose bag or netting on it. I've seen them taped up too with like florist tape. And then you open it when it's ready, when you have pollen from the plant you want to bring it to. Bring the pollen over and close that flower back up. And that's the only way you can hope, and that's just a hope, that you don't have any other pollen involved but the ones you want to have. So seed saving is important on a homestead because that's how you know you've got the quality you want and the food security that most homesteaders are attempting to plan. I told you I haven't gardened now for 3 years, and I didn't raise turkeys in the in the process, excuse my phone, for a while. And that created an issue um, of my larder, just drawing down the larder. Well, I was able to still eat some of my ground turkey and chopped turkey all the way up till this spring of this, well, last spring. It's almost next spring, right? It was 2023, April of 2023, when we ate the last of the turkey that I had raised from 2 years prior. And we eat turkey as our main meat around here. I share everything that I raise on the farm with Ned, so who owns the farm. So I had raised enough turkey to keep us both eating turkey for a long time. And my pantry has multiple levels of preservation. Some foods that are only meant to be stored for maybe, 2 or 3 years at the most. And some foods that I have dry canned with a 20-year shelf life. So some of the 20-year shelf life foods were broken into. But I just ran out of my own green beans and carrots. So let's look at beans, because I could not have a garden without green beans. Now, some people, maybe it's not their favorite thing, and here is one of the finest heritage beans you can grow, the Blue Lakes bush bean. It cans beautifully, freezes beautifully. It just tastes really great. I like to put it in my mashed potatoes, actually. Um, and so I'm growing this year Blue Lakes bush, and I'm growing, where are the roots? I'm also going to probably grow turkey craw beans. If you don't know the turkey craw bean, I don't see it on this page. The turkey craw bean was named so because a hunter killed a turkey and found one of these beans in the craw. And he saved the seeds and he kept growing them till he had a whole bunch of seeds and started sharing them. And that's how it got its name and got passed around. And it's been preserved. It's a pole bean. But let's look at carrots, because the other thing I just ran out of were carrots that I canned. So my canned beans, my canned carrots, I'm plumb out of. And I rely on the store now for beans and carrots, which just makes me feel very sad. I grow beets every year. When I do, I normally grow either the Detroit Red or the blood, bull's blood one. It's another deep red one. However, this year, I'm limiting what I can do. Oh, there's the Blue Lake bush bean again. I'm going to do the bush beans, some pole beans. I'd like to put up 2 years worth of beans and carrots. I grow cabbage every year, but these guys don't carry the cabbage that I like, which is the Golden Acre cabbage. It's just beautiful. But Danvers 126 is a great carrot for almost any soil you live in, really. And I'm going to grow that in tender sweets if I come across them. There's the tender sweets. And I have grown tender sweets here that were so big. They were just amazing. And Scarlet Nantes. Oh, actually, and I've done almost all of these. The red core Chandonnays I really like, but I'm not going to grow them. I have to limit what I'm going to be growing that makes me get down on the ground. I'll be wearing my, what do you call that? DeWalt company knee pads. They're like heavy duty, what contractors who have to get down on cement all day wear. I'm going to wear them this year. So I'm planning this little garden of things that I can keep seeds on. Everything from this company, you know that you'll be able to save the seeds, and they will give you some information if you have never been a seed saver. They'll give you some information on what to do. I normally do leather breeches with my green beans. If you haven't seen leather breeches, that's where you put a string through the bean and you crisscross them up a string, and then you hang them and let them dry like that. Then the carrots, you can bag the seed and shake the seed heads, and you can save those seeds that way. They're both easy to plant, grow, and save seeds from. So you should never be without green beans and carrots on your farm. And carrots you can dehydrate, freeze, or can, and they'll do equally well in all of those circumstances. But you'll have your favorite way of doing it. And beans, the same thing. But with those, it's not a lot of green leafy vegetables and stuff. I'm leaving out so many things that I would grow, and I will be growing more. Kale and not sorrel. I'm trying to think of the name, not mustard greens. The word is escaping me right now. It's everybody's favorite. Ford hook and rainbow. Anyway, my goats love to get a treat out of the garden, and so do the chickens, and so do the turkeys. And so I will grow lots and lots and lots of I can't believe the word is escaping me. Well, let's just go over and look, and I'll show you. Why am I not saying? I want to say sorrel, and that's wrong. It's going to be where the lettuce and the greens are. Well, hope I'm not making you seasick. Well, it wouldn't be in the lettuces, so I've gone into the wrong area. Well, this is what happens when you get old. You forget a word, and even if you sit there, like it's common, we've all forgotten words. But now I try to bring the word back, and I just can't. At midnight, it'll come back to me. But we're going to go find it so that I don't have to wait till midnight, because that would drive me crazy. And you guys are going to all go, oh, come on, I already know what you're talking about. Come on, lady. I wish you could speak right back to me right now and tell me what it is I'm looking for. It's not mustard, and it's not kale, and it's not bok choy, not collards. Oh, here we go. When all else fails. Swiss chard, thank you. Oh, brother. See, there's rainbow, Swiss chard, or ruby red, rainbow. And the one I like to grow, I grow this Ford hook, and I grow this flamingo. And I've grown the ruby red also. I haven't grown the rainbow one, although I have had some volunteers in my garden that looked more like rhubarb, that I think were a cross of rainbow blend and something else in the rhubarb. But you cannot go wrong growing Swiss chard for your greens. If you've never eaten it, it's just amazing. It's milder than spinach in some ways, and can be spicy, a little bit spicy edge to it, depending on the one. But it's also sweet. And grazing in the garden is my thing. I love to graze. I love to nibble a little kale and nibble a little Swiss chard and nibble whatever is out there. Green beans, peas. And I like to grow exotic things as well. But this year I'm sticking to the basics. And that would lead me to potatoes. So let's talk about potatoes. This year, one organic, certified organic, non GMO potato is $5 for one potato, for a seed potato. Actually, it's $5 a pound. I think one potato, when I looked it up, was, or yeah, one large potato is $4.99. Now, the German butterball, if I couldn't grow any other potato, this is my choice. It grows beautiful in Idaho volcanic soil, but all potatoes do. But I can't speak for what it would grow like in your soil. But it has staying power. It's a really great potato all the way around, and it tastes awesome. So I'm going to grow that and probably some um, Norland Reds and some russets, and that's it. Three of them, the Burbank russet probably. And I'll just grow three types of potatoes this year. And at this price, I'm only growing them in order to put into very special, I'll leave it in the ground. I'll probably just leave it in the ground and throw sawdust over the top of the row and plastic down over that to protect them in the ground until spring. And then I'll split them next spring because this is only going to grow enough for me to have seed potatoes for next year. And that's something I like to do every year on the farm. So now that gives me uh, a new start. That's part of the recovery, is to recover my potato stores. It's very sad to not have them. I'm going to grow some sesame seeds and a few extra things like that. But um, I do grow sweet potatoes. We've had a fabulous harvest. The last one was fabulous. And it was Beauregards, which are easy to get your hands on. So that's why I say Beauregards. But there are so many great sweet potatoes you can experiment with if you have the space. This is just on in Etsy. This here, this here potato, this here potatoes from Etsy. So let's see, what else do we have? The huckleberries. I don't know if I have a picture of them here, but I sure like them too. But I'm gonna be just real strict. There's Red New Orleans. There's a farm that I really love called the Wood Prairie Farm, or Wood Prairie Family Farm, that sells certified seed potatoes. And they're somebody to check out for prices and everything too. However, they did not have the German butterball, which is why I ended up over here in Etsy looking for German butterballs. So that's what I'm doing. I've made my order. Well, where are we? We're in Seed Savers. Okay. Um, I've made my order, and it consists of the basics, the very basics, and I will grow excess amounts. Tomatoes, of course. I I have raised every kind of paste tomato you can come by. And my favorites are the Amish and the San Marzano. So those two I'll raise. And then I love Cherokee purples and Crim blacks because they're so sweet and juicy. Those two are just fabulous tasting tomatoes. So I'll do those and probably some brandywines, some pink brandywines maybe, and Rutgers. And the reason I would grow Rutgers is because they are resistant to that horrible plague that's been plaguing tomatoes, um, Vercillium wilt. And when that hits your tomatoes, it's very sad to see all your tomatoes go. It's happened here. So I always want some tomato in there that's a little resistant, that in case all else fails, I still have some slicing tomatoes. Um, so we'll get out there and we'll look at what's happened to the garden. It's nearly a nightmare. I I don't know how we're going to get it recovered, but with your help and someone to share with, which is why I'm doing this, and to keep me accountable, I'll get out there and we'll start this 2024 recovery. And I think I'll probably post every Saturday to share with you some aspect of this recovery. But I just wanted to share seeds. They're so important. And to a homestead, to have recurring stock from your own crops is one of the most satisfying ways. It's just brings you full circle with your garden and with your connection to your garden to be able to have your seeds from previous years to go ahead and keep your homestead alive with. So, okay, that's all for today. And thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. Here I am. There. Hi. I don't know. I don't even know if we're still making a video. This is an experiment. So, cheers. Thank you.